Imagine a battlefield where civilization's fates are at stake, where strategy meets heroism, and where one man's vision alters history. Welcome to the narrative of Alexander the Great's most astounding victory over the Persians. Few conflicts in military history have left as deep an impression as Alexander the Great's clash with the Persian Empire. It was more than a conflict of troops. It was a collision of cultures, strategies, and goals. In the hot summer of 331 BC, Darius III found out that Alexander the Great had left Egypt. Alexander rode his wave of victories to Tyre, where he made sacrifices to the goddess Melkart and set up a fair for theatre, sports, and other events. Alexander was able to get the best players in Greece to work for him, even though they had contracts with other companies. This was possible because he got money from places like Sardes, Damascus, and Memphis. The fact that Greek officials were there to try to get Granicus's prisoners released shows that people were becoming more against Macedonian power, which was led by King Agis III of Sparta. Alexander earned respect in Athens by skillfully freeing these prisoners. He also thwarted Sparta's plan to start a bigger Greek uprising. Alexander was getting ready for his fight with Darius, but the troops didn't show up. This may have been because Antipater wanted them to come from Greece. Alexander didn't give up. He kept marching into Mesopotamia, where he planned to fight Darius no matter how many extra soldiers Darius had. And even though Darius knew that a mission like this had failed in Babylonia 70 years before, it didn't stop him from marching to the Euphrates. Mazaeus, who was the satrap of Babylonia, was against Alexander and his trusted aide Hephaestion when they built bridges over the river. But when Mazaeus saw Alexander coming, he and his army pulled back, which made it easy for Alexander to cross. Even though Alexander's Persian opponents were making more important strategic moves, this early win, which may not seem important, made the army's morale higher. Darius had done some strategic thinking by selecting a battleground where he could leverage his numerical superiority, which he had not been able to accomplish at Issus. The location near Arbela, in a region with high symbolic and strategic value, was chosen. Songhai, subsequently called Edessa, served as a rest stop and holy site for Alexander's men as they marched across Mesopotamia, reminding them of home as they approached the key Tigris crossing. With this march, they entered Assyria's historical and conquest-rich core. Despite this, Alexander's army was in danger, battling for supplies among the devastation created by the Persian scorched earth policy. Under the guise of foreboding astrological warnings, the Persians, secure in their strategy, awaited the Macedonians' arrival on the selected battlefield. As fate would have it, Darius and Persia were doomed due to the signs from above. According to Babylonian astrologers, a lunar eclipse on September 20th signaled the end of Darius's reign, a watershed moment in the Western-Eastern struggle. On the 24th day, Darius approached Alexander the Great with a peace offer in an attempt to prevent the impending bloodshed. He promised to give up the lands west of the Euphrates River, as well as one of his daughters, in exchange for marriage. The morale of Darius' troops had been seriously shaken by ominous indicators, and this act reflected his desperate desire to avoid conflict. The offer, however, had no effect on Alexander, who continued to march forward, his army quickly catching up with the Persians. A fall of fire and perhaps a meteor scared the Macedonian army as it advanced, as if the skies were in on the plan. Regardless, the Macedonian camp tightened its stance, reflecting Alexander's caution despite the two forces' closeness.